Well, I always knew I was adopted because my mother and father made sure of it, and I always was told I was special. And I grew up very happily here in Skerries. I was lucky. I was one of the lucky people in the sense that I have no sad stories. And I think, that's equally important to hear, as well as the other side, which there for the grace of God go I, and many like me.
Breda had no interest in seeking her identity, but then she fell ill and was asked for her medical records. She recovered, but her daughter then fell sick, and that's when Breda fought hard.
And we were told that she was a type 1 diabetic, and it was, oh dear God, I really wanted medical history. So I contacted St. Patrick's Guild, and I went hell for leather. I got nowhere. I was looking for information. I was looking for them to contact her, and they did contact her, but she wrote a letter back in a very frail letter saying that she just couldn't do it. It was like a seal of a end. It was like the end, because I realised, this old lady was panicked, fear, the realisation that where she came from in the west of Ireland, North Kerry, what would have been like 58 years ago, she would have been terrified. So therefore that terror must be within her somewhere.
St. Patrick's Guild closed down and the files were sent to the state.
And within 2 to 3 weeks I got a phone call from a nice young lady to say, would you come up to Blanchardstown? And I said, yeah, I'll pop up. Don't come on your own. And I'm going, I'm a woman in my late 50s. I have a career. I'm a very independent lady. Of course I'm coming. No, don't come on your own. So in fact, Orla came with me, and we went up, and such a difference from St. Patrick's Guild. It was, it wasn't stereotypical like a convent. It was just like a sitting room. There was no papers on the table. There was nothing, any water, which was great, because when you go into years and years ago in St. Patrick's Guild, there was files, and you're going, like now today, I should have grabbed it and ran. I could have, but of course then you don't. So I went in, and basically the lady said to me, the young lady said, and what are you hoping for today? And I said, anything. She said, well, I can give you nearly everything. And it was like somebody just went, boom. Holy God. I've come to the stage in my life that somebody's going to answer some questions. So she told me that Babe had died 18 months earlier. Her name was Babe. Her nickname was Babe, even though it was Bridget, like my own name, had died. And the reason then they were able to talk to me was because she had died.
She made a decision then to go to Kerry.
Because I wanted to go. I wanted to go, and I wanted to see where I came from, who I was, where I came from. Do I look like anybody? I wanted to see her grave. Not because I didn't want anything from it, but the way I've been brought up is I wanted to pay my respects, because that lady gave me my life, and without her I wouldn't be who I am today. Yes, my mum and dad did everything for me, and they were amazing parents, but without Babe I wouldn't be here. So I wanted to pay respects. So Orla and I went to Kerry, and it was very emotional. I went to the grave, and it was tough. I put flowers on it, and it was very tough. But the welcome I got, nobody down there knew who I was. Nobody knew I existed until a few weeks beforehand when they were contacted. She went to her grave telling nobody. There was a lot of people in the pub that night, and we were having a meal, and her extended family would have been there. This is the biggest news, because Babe, she was a hard working woman. She had to work hard. She was a better farmer than some men. She was on her bike into her 80s. She went up the road on her bike to her brothers when they were elderly to give them their dinner. She was the pillar of the community. And then I arrived. And everybody knew who I am. And I've been going down twice a year since. And every time I go down, I go to the grave. I still put the flowers down, and it's getting easier. And I feel more content. And my family think too, I'm more content in my own self too, because now I know who I am. I might have never met her, and I would love to have met her once to say, you did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. You were put in a situation in 1959 that was out of your control. Women them days who became pregnant and they weren't married, or they were in a situation that they couldn't keep the child, it wasn't their fault. It was society, it was the church, it was some of the family. But I came out of it a very level-headed woman. I know exactly now that I am blessed. I have my husband and my daughter and son-in-law, my grandchildren and extended family, and I know I'm one of the lucky ones.